what's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. We have Patriots Seattle in Super Bowl 60 right around the corner, but as is the Patriots MO, there's always something that happens before a Super Bowl that gets our attention. And it's not just Drake May's bad wing. We'll see how bad it is. It's Bill Belichick's Hall of Fame snubbery, jaw-dropping development. We're going to get into it with Matt Light, who will be a guest on our program. Talk to Matt in depth about the Patriots Super Bowl matchup and what he has perceived from his former teammate Mike Vrabel. But first, Armando Salguero joined Early Edition on Wednesday to talk about the entire process as the presenter of Bill Belichick to the 49 other voters and how this all came to pass. We're going to run the whole interview with Armando from Early Edition because he was excellent and gives us insight that really those of us who are not on that Zoom call can really get. So enjoy this, and then we'll have Matt Light coming up after Armando.
One member of that panel is Armando Salguero from Outkick. Don't blame him, though.
No,
not blame him. He presented Belichick to the committee for election. He joins us now. Armando, just walk us through the process and how in the world this possibly could have happened.
Yeah, how in the world this possibly could have happened is the $64,000 question. The process was simple, not. First of all, there was a subcommittee meeting on coaches, and I presented Bill Belichick in that meeting, and he came out of that meeting as the top, obviously, candidate among those coaches that included Shanahan, Holmgren, and a bevy of others. So he goes into the 50 selector overall meeting 2 weeks later, and that was held on the 13th. And the 50 selectors, they make up their mind as to whether a candidate is good or not. I presented him there. I did not mention Spygate in the presentation. Then debate happened. There was a lot of Spygate mentions in the debate. And then I get my final say, or the final say, in which I presented a Spygate rebuttal. I'll tell you right now, the reason that Bill Belichick is not in the Hall of Fame as a first ballot Hall of Famer is Spygate. Period. Next. It's not anything else. It's not, well, he was mean to me one time and now I'm going to get back at him. It's not, well, Tom Brady really helped him and it wasn't that much without Tom Brady. That wasn't it. It was Spygate.
So, Armando, in your perception, is it that individuals were not arguing whether or not Bill deserves to be a Hall of Famer, but that he brought the game into some disrepute and should wait?
The conversation was that Bill Belichick gained some of his records by cheating early on in his career. That was the conversation. And my rebuttal to that, Tom, was that even if you accept, and Bill Belichick did, and the NFL did, that Spygate occurred, and it occurred in September of 2007. Even if you think that it had been happening forever in Belichick's career prior to that, after that, when in fact the NFL was very much attentive to the Patriots, let's say, and the Patriots had a lawyer that made sure that they were coloring inside the rules lines. Bill Belichick won 190 games. Okay?
Hey.
His record after Spygate was superior to his record before Spygate. 693 winning percentage compared to 580. He won more regular season records after Spygate than 22 of the 28 head coaches in the Hall of Fame,
Armando,
including Lombardi.
We look, Armando, at the Baseball Hall of Fame, and there are players who did steroids who may never get in. Is that what exists with Bill Belichick, or is this just a one-time punishment? We're going to dock you. You're in detention. What is your perception?
Yeah, you're asking me to predict what at least 11 people decided was within their purview to make happen. I don't know what they're going to do next year, because obviously Bill Belichick is not winning any more NFL games right now. He's not winning a Super Bowl that you can add to his presentation, and Spygate hasn't disappeared magically. So I don't know how they're going to get past this, but I do know this. It's unfair if the NFL came down on the Patriots and Bill Belichick. They fined him personally $500,000. They took a draft pick away from the Patriots. That's the penalty for Spygate. I don't think it's correct that voters, selectors, should then decide, well, I'm the holier than thou person. I'm going to add an additional penalty for Spygate and not vote for him. I don't think that's right.
Armando, do you think that the voters, you're not supposed to be public. They don't want you to be public about this. Should you change the whole process now? Should there be transparency? Should all 50 voters have to say, here's my ballot, this is what it is, and if there are discrepancies like this one that are causing outrage amongst fans from coast to coast, that this would change maybe how people would vote, or at least you've got to explain yourself?
Well, the explain yourself part, Mike, is the part that I'm pretty much advocating, because I would say that a majority of the voters did, in fact, select Bill Belichick as a first ballot guy. The minority who didn't, they owe everybody an explanation, period, point blank. And the reason I'm saying that is their decisions have cast the entire selection process in doubt. They have cast the entire Hall of Fame in doubt. It's embarrassing that this has happened. And I've talked to multiple number of voters who are embarrassed that this happened. They agree that Bill Belichick should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame come 2026 induction in August. And he's not going to be, because some people who remain anonymous decided they didn't want to vote for him. They should explain themselves.
Armando, I think that the next natural question is, does this affect Tom Brady? He is going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame. He was involved in Deflategate. He paid his penalty, but will he get an additional penalty just like Bill Belichick?
That's a great question, Trenny, and I don't know the answer to it. I mean, obviously, that's another one of those in the future things. And I have given up trying to predict what some of these folks are going to do, because I went into that meeting thinking this is going to be an easy day for me because I'm presenting Bill Belichick, and the dude has won more Lombardis than the dude who the trophy is named for. So I figured, this is going to be easy. It wasn't easy. It wasn't simple. And so I have no idea whether the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Armando, we go back a long way. I can feel your pain as we speak and your frustration. So thanks for coming on with us. What about Robert Kraft? Let's get that one out of the way as well. He's already should have been in. If Jerry Jones is in, if Pat Bowlen's in, if all these individuals, I mean, what are we waiting for until it has to be the same crap it was with Pat Bowlen posthumously? It's embarrassing when that happens, too.
You guys know that, obviously I covered the Dolphins for a long time, right? In the AFC East. Mm-hmm. I am aware of the New England Patriots, okay? I understand. And I love Boston, and it's awesome, and it's great. The history of the NFL in the 21st century cannot be written without Robert Kraft, okay? That should get Robert Kraft into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I think that eventually he will be. I don't know if he is this year or not. I hope he is. I voted for him. I voted for all the Patriots. I voted for Vinatieri. He was like, yes. They won a bunch of Super Bowls. I get it. They were very good. And so, personally, speaking for myself, I rewarded that. But I don't know if I was in the majority. I wasn't in enough of a majority, the 80% majority for Bill Belichick.
Hey, tiny logistical thing to wrap this up. Did you guys vote in person, go to a room, or was this done via Zoom? And what happened to the Saturday before the Super Bowl stuff? Has that been done away with so that you do it prior to the honors night?
Yeah, it was a Zoom meeting. The in-person went away after COVID or during COVID, and there's been no ability to get that back together because of the timing of the whole knock, and people weren't coming to the site of the Super Bowl to be told if they were or weren't. There's also issues of you're forcing someone to come to the Super Bowl city so that they can receive bad news. So the Hall of Fame is going or has gone a different direction with the in-person Saturday meeting.
Thank you.
At least something makes sense in the process. Armando, I know you've done a ton of interviews today, so we thank you for making some time for us as well and trying to explain this debacle.
Ladies and gentlemen, as advertised, alongside is Matt Light, longtime Patriots tackle. He played in 5 Super Bowls. He started off hot. He won the first 3 of them. The second 2 were not as hot, but he still has a significant experience, and it's always great to see you, bud.
Good to see you. It's been a long time.
I did misspeak and say 4, and we had to restart.
Hey, listen, at my age, I misspeak every day, and everyone around me is more than happy to let me know.
You know what's great, though, is I wouldn't want to have that slipped up on either. 4 or 5, what's the difference? It matters.
You know, I tell you, it's crazy when you think back on it. You know, obviously we're going to the Super Bowl again, and I think Patriot Nation is about as fired up as they've ever been. And it feels a little bit like the 01 era. I mean, we have a lot of snow on the ground. We haven't had that in a long time. We have a team that's cooking with oil, and they're pretty hot right now. And we are playing in the coolest game ever. And I'm happy for these guys, man.
And you got a quarterback you got a rookie left tackle. You got a quarterback who people didn't expect to do what he is doing in what is now his second year, as it was for Tom. It's funny. As people got really sick of the Patriots, I think people enjoy the Patriots now. Do you sense that? There is an appreciation for these guys that wasn't there, when Bill was here.
Well, I think there was some complacency. There were definitely some times where probably jersey sales weren't going real good. I mean, everybody kind of bought and everything, had a little taste of either a playoff game here and there. And I mean, for a long time, people literally would be like, yeah, I've never been to a playoff game, or, never been a part of anything, like that. And now there are a lot of people who have been a part of big moments, but there's been enough of a stretch that we're finally back. And that was the president calling, so you guys can go ahead and cut this out.
Funny, he just emailed me.
Did he hit you?
Yeah, he emailed me.
Yeah, he
on my AOL.
This time of the year, he wants to know what the Pats are doing and how they're doing it, and now he's calling. I mean, it's embarrassing, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, he's still hot about the Hall of Fame snub, which we will get to in just a second. If that's the life, my brother always calls when I check anything. Mike, are you going to be able to do this? I got to check with the War Department.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You'd think I'd have this thing down by now, but yeah.
What was your reaction to the hiring of Mike Vrabel? And is it a little surreal to see him in a position of where he's completely buttoned up, for lack of a better word?
Well, I mean, look, Mike had an amazing ability to, he was kind of a chameleon, right? When he needed to be serious, he could be very serious as a player, as a teammate. When he wanted to have fun, man, he can cut loose and have a great time. Look, Vrabes and I go all the way back to Ohio State, right, where I'm a true freshman playing tight end, going up against the vaunted, edge rushers of Mike Vrabel, Luke Finkus. I mean, Finkus and Vrabel, were legit at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And they had a really good defense. And then come here in 2001 as a rookie, and, Bill picks him up from Pittsburgh, and, we spent a lot of time together. I got to see, what makes him tick. And, I think everybody realized he was going to be a coach. I thought he was going to be at Ohio State. But it's been a lot of fun to watch him develop as a coach, to see the system that he implemented this year, to see it early and often too. The minute, he took the podium as the head coach, you could see that, that year off, his tenure down in Tennessee and all of that really helped shape, how he wanted to start out, the people he wanted to go after. In training camp, the mindset that he was instilling, and you hear the guys talk about it, the culture is there. Very hard to establish that early, as a new head coach, in an area, even though he has familiarity. Not very many people can do it, and he's done it. And I tell you, hats off to him, that entire staff, and those players.
When you have that kind of, for lack of a better word, rebar that runs through your whole team that began in January of last year. We're going to go to San Francisco, and there's going to be parties and media days and opportunities to create controversy and hoopla. How important is it to have that team identity, whatever season it is, because it'll be different next year, but that team identity to refer back to as the game approaches?
Well, I think you're bringing up the point that, when you've earned it, and it's what the foundation of your organization is about, these moments don't become too big. If you didn't put the time in, if that really wasn't your character, if that wasn't true to form, the cracks will show when you get to these bigger stages, right? And, look, there's been the ability to have some of these moments become too big, right? When you turn the ball over as many times as they did in the playoffs, right, you could fall apart. When your quarterback's getting hit, when, things aren't going perfect, you can see teams fall apart. You haven't seen that with this group. And again, it's a testament to them and the work they put in. I don't think this stage is going to be too big. Is it going to be a tough matchup? For sure. But I think they have every tool they need to be in a good position. It comes down to execution, as we know, and it is a big stage.
You have a second-year quarterback, a first-year left tackle in the Super Bowl, similar to the situation you guys had in 01. You were the left tackle all season long. Tom was there. What has impressed me, and it's more important to hear from you, is that those guys, when something goes wrong, they don't get all pouty and, oh, boy, am I ever going to be able to do this right again? They just move on. How important is that?
Well, it matters to them, right? I mean, I got to tell you, I know guys in a league when I played that, they were going in to get a check and they were going home to whatever was other than football. And then there's the guys that, they go in to earn a right to be a part of an organization. When they go home, they're still thinking about it. It's personal. I think that's probably the makeup of a lot of guys there. And you talk about this left tackle. There's a lot of similarities, man. I mean, first year, got injured, came back, is performing, going all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, I can relate to each one of those points, right? As Dante Scarnecchia would remind me all the time, Light, you don't know if the ball's pumped or stuffed, son. And I think that was maybe even a gross understatement. But again, I like Will Campbell. I like the way he approaches the game. I like the way he handles the media, handles himself, and he takes it personal. He wants to be a better player tomorrow than he was today. That's important.
It's funny. There's guys who take things personal and don't move on from having taken it personal. And I don't know him well enough yet to know, but it's funny the way he takes it personal, but he's not hurt. He's more pissed off.
Well, I think he's been a guy that ever since he left high school, he's been highly touted, right? Had a great college career at LSU, right? Was highly touted there as well. Made a lot more money than I made when I was in college, but I'm sure
you did okay.
Well, at Purdue, it was actually it was a detriment to be when you're in an engineering program,
I was going to say
they're like, yeah, like you're not going to be late to my class again, But no, I just think that Will Campbell has had to deal with high pressure, a lot of expectation, and he's handled it really well this season. I'm sure he handled it really well in the past, and again. It's not going to be perfect. People were looking at, especially the Myles Garrett matchup. I remember hearing a lot about, oh, this is when we're going to know. And it's like, well, hey, look, if you're averaging 60 plays a game and he gets 2, okay, all right. Maybe there's going to be a time where, he's going to win every one of those matchups. That very well could be, but, you're not going to win them all.
I mean, you had Jason Taylor on the road in Miami when it was hot and friggin' noisy.
That's a fact. Hey, listen, I look back on it, and those guys made me a better player. Early in my career, John Abraham, was down in the Jets. What a playmaker he was for a long time in this league. You think about Xerxes, a.k.a. Jason Taylor, and what he brought, and he really defined that position for a long time. You got Aaron Schobel. I mean, these were 6 of our 16 games every year going up against guys. And Aaron Schobel was completely different, hustle guy.
Yep.
And then, of course, we played Indianapolis every year, at least once, really kind of twice when we hit the playoffs. And what a great play. Those guys, you want to go up against those guys. As much as, that's a tough week of preparation. It makes you a better player. Myles Garrett, going up against a rookie left tackle makes that tackle a better player.
You know my favorite edge rusher was? That wasn't playing here? Kyle Vanden Bosch.
Kyle Vanden Bosch. I will never forget Gronk absolutely decleating him. I had the best seat for it as I'm pulling and he's crack blocking. And I love Kyle. But that play was spectacular.
He was a maniac.
He was a maniac, yeah.
He was a maniac. But good for you. Good for the New England Patriots. Go Patriots. What do you like about Drake May? How do you think he'll perform on this stage?
Yeah, hey, look, I think it could be maybe his best game. Could be the best game he plays throughout the playoffs, right? I mean, he's had, some moments he wants back. Not all his fault, for sure, but he just has a knack to remain calm, not hit the panic button, and go out there and just make the play. And honestly, the more that it seemingly the more his back's up against the wall, the better he performs. That's a really cool attribute. It's one that a team buys into, that the guys around him really respect, and it goes a long way as a leader, to have those kind of qualities. So I expect him to play really well.
Kind of proof of that is if you look at his numbers on 3rd and 10 plus, it's like 44% conversions. It's like that 44% conversion is good on 3rd and 5. And 3rd and 10 plus, there was a point in the season they were around 45% conversions. So that kind of goes to what you're saying.
Hey, we're not talking about him so fondly because of his checkdowns. I mean, when that guy drops dimes the way he does, even if you don't want to pay attention, you're not missing those. So, yeah, to that point, I mean, he has made so many clutch throws this season alone that he's earned the right to be in the MVP talk, to be the guy that everybody looks to.
How much will Josh help in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, look, Josh he's such a talented guy. What I always respected was we get to Friday, Saturday, and here we are getting ready to play, a game, whether it's regular season, postseason, and we're going through the openers as an offense. And there'd be times where Josh would come up and be like, what do you think of this? And not everybody does that. And look, they're going to do that to their quarterback. Mm-hmm. They may talk to receivers, running backs. I'm an offensive lineman, man. Just shut up and do your job, right? Just, it's not that complicated, but I think it speaks volumes to, really understanding, that every component is key within the system. And, there's times I looked him in the eye and said, hey, man, don't throw that. Don't put that in there, buddy. Give me a chance to butter this guy. I want to give him something to think about.
Yep.
And then go to that, right? And those are little nuanced things that can go a long way, not just from a relationship standpoint, but from just, feeling good about going into the game.
Yeah, I mean, and plus you're then, and I'm sure you are anyway, but you're a part of it. You have a stake, a different level stake.
Yeah.
And like, okay, well, now I've said don't do that. Now that this play is coming up, I better fucking do it right.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the other end of that one where you make a suggestion and it doesn't work out. Look, I lobbied, to have a tackle-eligible play for a long time. Yeah. Never came to fruition. Although we did have a moment where we were playing back-to-back West Coast games, and the second of the matchups was against Oakland. And we had practiced this tackle-eligible, and and we were going to run it in the game until we had terrible weather. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. My one chance, right? To be Vrabel, where I can just go catch touchdowns.
Just catch touchdowns. Was he the best? Yeah. I'm going to, you know what? Quick answer on this. I don't want to go veering too far on this, but I always looked at him. He looked like a friggin' decathlete. He's not muscular necessarily. He'd be out there before the game, running routes, throwing the ball. He was like, I thought, might have been the best all-around athlete on the team.
Well, I can tell you this much. He was one of the very few guys that after a grueling practice would go in and run like 7 miles on a treadmill. It actually kind of pissed me off, to be honest with you. I mean, like, I don't know. I have this theory that people that are as hairy as Mike Vrabel produce more energy somehow. And I don't know why that's a correlation, but hairy individuals, for some reason, have a lot more power. He's like a chinchilla. He's wearing a full-time sweater all the time, but the guy has a motor that just doesn't stop, always working out, always doing things. I think he's very elastic. I think that was one of, his ability to stay healthy, season after season and be agile and limber. I mean, he took care of himself. Again, he took it personal.
Yeah, he was an incredible athlete, I thought. Haven't gotten to Bill yet and the snubbery. What's your reaction to that? I mean, you almost had to laugh at the idiocy of it.
Well, again, I think I have a different take than most when it comes to this Hall of Fame voting scenario. I mean, I'm a system guy. There's a system in place where 50 individuals, right, have a vote, a say in who is inducted into the Hall of Fame, the most prestigious honor for an individual who has been a part of the National Football League. That carries weight. All 50 of those people represent the National Football League through their vote, bringing in people who symbolize the best of the best. Somebody, i.e. Roger Goodell, I would have to think, looks over that and says, okay, yep, that's going well, right? There's always somebody governing the system. Mm-hmm. They're called leaders. And in this case, the leader failed to do his job. And I just think that that's the only story I can take. That's the only takeaway I have, is that if it came across my desk and they're like, hey, here's the press release on where the hall is as it relates to the finalist, I would have said, hey, hard stop, get them in a room, get them on the phone. We had to talk about this.
It's interesting because one aspect of this that really hasn't been highlighted enough is they're doing it on Zoom. They're not doing it as they used to in a room the day before the Super Bowl, which is what used to happen, and then they'd bring the guys out at halftime and they would wave and they would tell all. Now they do it on Zoom as a result of post-COVID. So you got 50 guys on Zoom and they make the presentations and the guys are clicking and muting. So, but at the end of it, when they're voting for 3 players or 3 individuals from this group of 5, there's no way that somebody says, hey, make sure that we get Belichick in, okay? I don't know if you guys are over there voting for Roger Craig and Ken Anderson because you think they ought to be in and it's a symbolic vote, but if we don't get Belichick in, they're going to be up our ass, and we don't need that if we want to keep doing this. But they didn't do that.
Well, listen, we've gotten away from so many things that are traditions, mm-hmm. right? And they're traditions because they were important enough to make it a point to do them that way every year, right? If you want to break down traditions, that's a good way to look at it. When you don't make that important anymore, when it's not a priority to get everybody in the room so that you can have a real conversation. Again, we're not talking about, whether or not we should put, flowers on the sideline.
Right.
This is a really important decision that gets made every year that really honors, the league and the people who represent it. But again, I just had to say that great leaders don't allow that to happen. And that's a failed leadership. And I think that the lesson that comes out of this is, we can never allow that to be the talking point because it
sucks. It's going to suck for whoever gets in.
And it takes away from the guys who deserve to be there, who are finalists, who are going to be inducted this year. We're talking about Bill Belichick not being on the list. What we should be talking about are the Drew Breeses, are the people who are on that list because of who they are, the men that they are, the way they led, and what they stood for. That's what we should be talking about.
Which brings us now to irrelevant questions. And I'm going to go right off the top of my head with these because you're so good at it. And the first one that I'm going to ask you is, relative to Drew Brees, were you disappointed when he had the thing removed from his face?
Pernick. We named it at Purdue. We did. We had a name for it. And I wasn't. Honestly, I kind of thought maybe he was going to do that sooner.
Uh-huh.
I always looked at him as a hand model more than like a true model. But, I think
it was distinctive.
It was distinctive, and you can still kind of see it, man. It's a hallmark. It's a signature thing.
How do you spell Pernick?
Good question. I don't know, but I do know that was another guy that was on our team at Purdue. And why he became, a symbol is beyond me.
For Drew Brees' facial?
Yeah, for his birthmark, yeah.
Yeah. I've often gotten. There was a time when I had a Drew Brees look to me if I wore a scally cap.
I can see it.
Yeah,
yeah.
A skinny little face and the beady eyes. What was your first vehicle?
Officially, my first vehicle was a 1978 Caprice Classic station wagon in what I would consider lime green. And it was a Hearst.
I was going to say.
One point. It was a Hearst.
I was a rolling coffin, it sounded like.
Yeah. And by the way, that thing had a 5-liter, V8. I think I was off-roading in it and ripped the entire undercarriage out. I don't know. It's what people do in the middle of nowhere.
Sure they do. They do it everywhere. Let's be honest.
It's a good vehicle, though.
How many people did you, at the max, fit into that thing?
Oh, countless. But what I can tell you is the best function for that vehicle is your demolition derbies. Those things are meant. They're so heavy. No, but the Great Dark County Fair, where I'm from, the largest county fair in the nation, we had one of the best demolition derbies anywhere on planet Earth. And those vehicles right there, those old station wagons, those are the winners.
Are you a daredevil? Would you like to skydive, scuba dive, hang glide, any of those things?
All the above, man.
Why?
Yeah. I just, when you watch a kid open presents on Christmas and you see real joy, that's why.
Really?
Yeah, man, it's real joy. I was in an F-18 with the Blue Angels, and man, you want to talk about? I was not prepared for that. That is one of the wild. And by the way, he was trying to kill me from the minute we took off. The minute we took off, I got it all on film. It's so cool. Yeah, I love all that stuff.
Would you rather? No, scratch that. Here we go. I'm starting fresh. 3, 2, 1. How do you like your steak, and what kind of cut you getting?
Medium rare, and I kill it and I grill it. So I butcher about 60 deer a year, elk, moose, deer, and I'm very particular. I have my own meat bandsaw. I like a nice bone-in chop out of any wild game because it's real meat and there's no fat on it, right? No intramuscular fat. I trim it really well. Simple when it comes to the preparation. I'm going to let it sit out all day, get to really good in room temperature. I'm going to fire up my Traeger grill. I'm going to put a little bit of really good olive oil on it. I'm going to go with some salt, some pepper, maybe a little fennel powder. Gives it a neat little edge to it. I got that one more recently. And then it's going to be a real nice, I don't sear them. I like a reverse sear.
I find searing hard.
Well, the sear,
because I don't get it hot enough, I don't think.
Yeah, you can really experiment with the sear, but I would tell you this: the Traeger, you can't mess it up. 350 degrees, let it go. You can't overdo it. Just you want to have a nice little squishiness to it. That's when you know you're at about medium rare. Mm-hmm. Medium rare is what you're going for. And then you can do the reverse sear. Throw it on a really hot, cast iron pan, give it a little color, serve it right away after it rests for about 5 minutes. green peppercorn sauce.
You are rolling downhill now.
Oh, buddy, I'm telling you, when it comes to food, brother, we could be here for days.
Onion soup? You like onion soup?
I'll eat anything.
Okay, because I'm an onion soup, steak, mashed potatoes, Caesar salad,
Yeah, I
boom.
like the potatoes.
Then a big piece of chocolate cake. Speaking of all that, though, it's important to highlight what you have going on for the Super Bowl.
We do. And speaking of food, by the way, that is a big component on this one. So we like to do this. At the Light Foundation, we're almost 25 years in, serving kids across the country. But we raise all the money internally, and part of the way we do it is by giving away a trip to the Super Bowl. And this one is definitely the granddaddy of them all. 2 tickets to the game, airfare included. You got your 3-night hotel stay. You got your tickets to the Guy Fieri tailgate, which is phenomenal, crazy food. And then after the game, you're going to go to the Patriots after party. So it's one of these things where somebody's going to win this for as little as $10. So Stairway to 7, which is, I think, the best tagline for this one, stairway7.org, and you can get as many chances as you want. But at the end of the day, I'm going to call the winner. I'm going to let them know they're going to maybe one of the greatest moments of their lives.
That's a $50,000 value, practically.
And here's the best part. What I love is that anybody can win, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to have $1 million. You don't have to be the richest guy in the room. And we've done so many of these, and I promise you this much. Every single winner we've ever had have been just the coolest people.
That is really great.
Yeah.
Well,
that'd be good.
Thank you for all the stuff that you have done with the Light Foundation over time, because you've always made it fun, and you've included the media as colleagues. Yeah, I never want to call you guys friends because we really don't get that far. I mean, it's a professional thing.
It is, yeah.
You know, we're very professional.
Yeah.
Do I have any more irrelevant questions? What was the last movie you cried at?
I cried all the movies, man. I mean, even like even like with Liam Neeson, you know. And most people don't cry on those things.
Certain
He's a pretty
set of
tough
skills,
guy. Yeah. You know, I am a crier though. I'm not going to lie to you, and it's not. I'm not saying this to try to sound tough, but like when it comes to American Idol, The Voice. Anytime I see somebody do something where they realize a dream or they put the work in and it actually pays off, waterfall, buddy.
Karaoke go-to song?
You know what I would say? In Color by Jamie Johnson. It's amazing you asked this question. I just saw my trophy for the inaugural Larry-oke.
What'd you sing there? In Color?
I don't know. I don't think it was In Color. I think it predated that song.
I think so too.
But I do know that I was the winner. I won. It's probably one of the best accomplishments in my career.
I won one that Mike Adams did down there at Gillette. I think,
really?
Yeah. I sang Danny California, and then we rolled back around and I sang that Bill Withers.
Oh, I like Bill Withers.
Yeah, and I can't remember. It was the one, Use Me Up.
There we go.
So we'll get there.
You know, that's on the Anchorman soundtrack. Yeah, it is. Just a little known fact.
I have no pop culture friggin' retaining.
Maybe you and I could do a Sonny and Cher number. I got you, babe.
I like that.
Yeah, I'll do Sonny.
Something like that? One that you want? Any of that stuff?
I'm a baritone, you know, so I don't have a
we could do
great
Leather
range.
and Lace.
Hey.
You in the moonlight.
I'm willing to try anything.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Matt Light. Please seek out the Light Foundation one more time. Stairway to
7.org. And I hope I'm calling one of the listeners that's going to hear this on this show, and we will have a guaranteed good time.
All right. Thank you, Matt Light.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to Armando. Thanks to you guys. Where's Phil Perry? He'll be back. He'll be back. I'm flying out Saturday night. Why? Because there's supposed to be some weather on Sunday. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to fly out Sunday morning, why not just fly out Saturday night? I'll get there at 11, and then I don't have to worry about it. So beginning on Sunday and Monday, we will start with Sunday night. We'll begin our coverage on the television side, and then Monday throughout the week, we will have Pat's Talk, Next Pat's, Early Edition, BST. Over on NBC 10, there's going to be Super Bowl specials. So we will be loaded to the gills. To the gills with Patriots coverage. Thanks so much. We're enjoying the ride. I hope you guys are too.